No questions?
I have no questions.
Oh.
So it's been nice recording with you.
All right, so I'll
See ya.
just I'll just head out. See ya later,
We'll drop on
gates.
Monday. Rhyme or free, it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad poetry. Good day and welcome to My Bad Poetry, a podcast where we take a deep dive into our poems from youth, yesteryear, or even yesterday, always asking the question, why in the world did I write this? I'm Aaron.
And I'm Dave.
And today we have with us, for a second time, the singer-songwriter and poet abroad, who is now a master of linguistics, here to study some language of her own past. Maddie Corley, welcome back to My Bad Poetry.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Because last time I didn't have a master, and now I do.
Yes.
Who decided that was okay?
Some university gave you a paper.
I know. Actually, they didn't yet. It's still in the mail.
That's the worst.
They gave me a symbolic piece of paper.
There you go. You walked with the empty tube.
Yeah, but listen, honestly, we graduated in Grand Place in Brussels. It was gorgeous. We went through the town hall up to the first floor. We got to say our names and like take pictures. It was like very fairy tale-esque.
Cool.
The sun was out. It's never out in the city. It's always raining. So like we had blue skies. It was truly like that whimsical why people go to college in Europe situation, like the movie style.
Sure.
The campus is not like that. Love my school, but the campus is nothing like what our graduation day was. But you know what? It was all worth it. It was great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So now I have a master's.
Yeah,
Before I did not.
congrats.
So thank you. Tip's hat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, are you sticking around Brussels for a bit? What do you...
I want to. Yeah, I'm currently in the process of applying for like a search year visa, so it allows me to work here for the year but without a permit or like a work permit.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when the bridge needs crossed. So we're currently in that limbo period of yes, no, should be a yes.
Good.
But yeah, I'd love to stay. I love this city. It's not definitely, I was just talking with a friend. It's not the most beautiful aesthetically, but I think the environment with everybody being from different places is really wonderful. So I think it's way more people driven for me than some other places I visited. So yeah, I do like it despite it not knowing always what it wants. But I'm like, yeah, I love Brussels, guys. Come hang out. And they're like, oh, this isn't like Paris. I'm like, that's okay. Yeah.
That's the city of love is Brussels, right?
It is. It is. Because we're all the city of love and the city of people who are like down to clown.
There you
And
go.
here's what I mean by that. Over the summer, my friend, she's Swedish. We did a midsummer celebration, and she's like, I think there were only two other Swedish people that went. So it was kind of a haphazard Brussels Swedish celebration. I had a friend from childhood, like diapers, who was visiting because she was in Germany, and I was like, hey, do you want to go to this midsummer celebration? My friend's having it. She's like, sure. We left that day, and she was like, how many people did you know? And I said, 3, not including the host. We had like 30, 35 people, and all of us were like super down to meet and talk, explain why we were there, share what like our interests, our purpose, like our history. And I feel like that's just like a very Brussels situation. Because most people are not from here. So all of us are coming from different places, and we're excited to talk about why we're in the city. So I think that's very unique to this area. In my opinion, my humble opinion.
No, that's true of rural Minnesota as well. That,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
basically the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're my neighbor. Like, you're telling me we're doing this on Zoom, but like you're actually just doing it in the room over, right? We're
Right.
just, like,
Yeah. Just right
next door.
Yeah, a lot of transplants out there in the Midwest rural areas.
Definitely not like 9th generational farmers.
No, wait, farming? What's that?
Huh?
Now, last time we spoke, you were doing the New York Times Wordles. Connections.
Yes.
You were creating songs each day
Yes.
out of that.
That's true.
Is that still happening or?
No.
Okay.
No, I stopped for a couple reasons. One, did not like how the New York Times was presenting the current genocide happening in Palestine, was not a fan. So I stopped as a boycott. And I also know that right now, those game designers or the actual people in charge of that whole section are currently on strike. So once I decided my opinion about the New York Times as a publication, I said, all right, we're going to stop this beautiful thing. But yes, at the time I was doing that. Actually, in the last week, I was lucky enough to run 2 poetry workshops at my university.
Cool.
It was the best. I'd love to do that forever. Unfortunately, someone's got to pay me, and that's the problem. I did it for free, which I didn't even question. So, but I've now written 8 palindromes in the last 48 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's also similar. The connections with 16 words I had to put together. The palindrome has the reflecting line. So it's a very similar puzzle based, like inspiration or impetus. But no, I'm not doing the connections anymore because of my feelings about the NYT.
Yeah. Makes total sense. And I love that your creativity is finding new paths.
Oh, it finds holes.
Yeah.
She does not stop. And I say she because like technically it's me, but I'm just saying right now, like that's a different. We're in the same body, but it's
the muse
right,
is
different
singing.
entity.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's the muse though, because the muse is like what you look at to inspire. I think this is just more like I message people and I'm like, guys, I wrote another one. I'm being wild tonight, like drinking a glass of wine, writing a palindrome in my bed, and that is total joy for me. So I'm like, whatever. But yeah,
Gosh.
Maddie, I worry that we could talk.
We could do this forever,
all day.
No.
So Dave, you need to bring us into the realm of bad poetry with whatever you have written in your PJs in bed.
Yes. I worked really hard on this one, and by that I mean I didn't.
That's the way to be.
Right? This is a poem I am calling Limerick.
Okay.
There once was a poet from Limerick, whose wit and intelligence were quick. He rhymed in his poem, though his words they did row 'em, and he completely forgot that the last line needed to keep some form of meter and rhyme with the first 2.
Woof.
That feels like a sitcom character. Like genuinely. Right? Like that could be like a new girl side person that just comes in.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which also, let's talk about how those 4 guys were on Sexiest Men of the Year. And I'm like, yeah, they were.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
they were.
That cast, impeccable.
I can't.
Right?
That would be, we could, yeah, we're just going to stop there.
Again, straight dude here, and yeah.
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 I get it.
100%.
No, we're literally rewatching the series right now.
So good. Great choice.
Right
so
now,
jealous of you.
Yeah. Watched 2 episodes last night.
Gosh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So Dave, your limerick is like that of a new girl
Side character. Yes.
Side character. Yeah. Odd
Yeah.
humor.
Like a couple episodes or someone who comes in and out a little bit, just like shows up. Yeah, 100%.
I'm taking that as you're calling me Schmidt, so cool.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because Schmidt is a side character.
Yeah,
Obviously.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'll put some
Don't
money
tell
in the
Schmidt
douchebag
that.
jar.
Don't tell Schmidt, but like we all know.
Oh gosh. Well, that was fun.
We haven't even gotten to the poems.
I know. Maddie, you brought for us 3 poems from.
I did.
You said your college.
Yes.
Years.
So I started writing. I did a challenge my senior year with 2 friends because I was like, I think I want to write. Now, in the first episode that I was on this podcast, I talked about how I fell in love with someone who wrote poetry, and that's and I fell in love. Not really. I was not in love, but I idolized them. And so that's one of the reasons I started writing. And so my friends and I, 2 of my friends from high school, we wrote different things, but we both, or all of us, wanted to write. So we created a folder and we had like assignments, or like not assignments, but we needed to write at least one thing a week. And so I have like folders from 2016 all the way to 2019, because then I switched emails. So then I have another set of folders. And so basically I was going through like each week folder and just figuring out, all right, what am I gonna present? And it was so funny. Like I was so excited. Like I was just reliving, and it was so interesting because it's so different now, which is the purpose, to reflect. But every piece that I wrote, I was like, oh my God, I forgot. Like, oh my God, I forgot. Oh. So yes, the three pieces I brought, they are from October of 2016, so beginning of my senior year. Then August 2017. So I had graduated in May and I was just moving back to Georgia. And then at my wedding is December of 2017. And I was officially back in Georgia, but I did not want to be.
Okay.
So it's kind of all in that like very new, I was doing this more consistently phase of life. Because then a year after that, I moved to Ireland, but that's also when I started poetry editor at Barron. So like this is all the year before I became someone who said yes and no to people's art. And I think that's also important to recognize. Like, many thanks to Jason for giving me the keys to drive that. But like at the same time, she was tenacious.
Sure.
Young me was tenacious. Like she was so into this, but it's just very interesting to see how that into came out in words. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, as a master of words now, let us...
Technically.
Yeah. You should give us a masterclass on this first poem here. You've titled it Jeans.
Yes, I will only be reading the middle section because it is kind of lengthy. Jeans. They're my favorite pair of jeans, and yet, when I wear them, I think of you. Curling your fingers into the loops around my waist, pulling me closer. Fingers like the familiar leather of a well-loved belt. I think of your hands in my back pockets, lightly molding to me through blue denim, flesh aching to meet flesh, our heat burning holes in the thread. I think of the warmth and wear of your calloused fingers as they lift my shirt and trickle down past my waistband. I think of these jeans discarded on multiple floors, crumpled in a tired heap or low across my ankles as we make love in the bathroom stall at a football game.
Nothing quite as romantic as...
Nothing at all. Fuck at a college football game, yeah. I mean, that's what...
That is the weirdest turn at the end there. I was like, okay, I get it. Young love, passion, you know. Yeah. And then it's just like football game. Mm-hmm.
Specifically make love though. Like that's important. Make love versus very different.
Very different. And yet I would say that context, make love is probably the wrong term for that context.
Where is the probably coming from, Aaron?
That seems like some hasty, horny stuff going on. There is.
Talk to the speaker. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Who wrote this? Oh, Maddie. Okay. This is something. You paint a picture.
I know. I do.
You do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of imagery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be haunted by your fingers like the leather of a well-loved belt.
Just snaking around you. I don't know. Okay. I will say there's a line that resonated with me and a distinct sitcom memory that I have watching CW.
Okay.
I remember when Rory Gilmore started dating
Dean, Jess, Logan.
Jess.
Right on her fingertips.
Jess.
I love it.
What a great show.
Yeah. But I was young enough that like I didn't know much of relationships, but I remember when Jess had his hands in the back pockets of Rory's jeans, and I was like, that is the hottest thing I have ever seen.
Yeah.
That
like,
is a
I don't want to be owned,
memory.
but you can own me that way. That's fine.
Yeah, it's like that is what I aspire to.
Like, I don't like to be manhandled, but dang, son. Yeah.
But I'll be handled by that man.
So
yeah, hand me up. Get handsy.
Your middle line here, I think of your hands in my back pockets. I'm like, I do too.
Yeah, I do. I don't think I was rewatching Gilmore Girls, though. I will say that the finale, or like the 4-episode revamp, did come out when I was a senior.
That was 2016. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure,
and
yes.
so I remember crying, not because, like, I will say Rory Gilmore is a horrible person.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible person. But I think a lot of horrible people make really good TV main characters because they do horrible things. And so, like, her, Dean, all of that, right? But I remember watching that and just being like crying, not because of the show, but like as the actors came back, I was like, this is really the last time I'm gonna see them. Like Jared Padalecki as Dean, I left that room and I was like, I don't even like Dean, but I'm Jared. Big deal. And my roommate is like, okay, because I normally don't cry, and so for her to see me like full-fledged tears. Yeah, so I don't think that's where this came from.
Okay.
I don't know where this came from. This is not autobiographical by any means. This is probably me trying to come up with a way to make an image for someone. Also, I'm a big longer. You know, I'm so into longing. I'm so into loving from afar. So I think a lot of the stuff I was writing at the time was in that tonal vein. I still write songs this way too, but a little bit more mature, not like, hey, in the bathroom, you know, like not a little bit. Here's the thing, mature people do that too, but this was coming from the side of it, not like the pragmatic, yo, you know, that
you
level
up?
of,
yeah,
you up. Hey,
meet me in the second stall.
WYD, what you doing? Yeah, so I think what gets me is like trickle down past my waistband. I'm like, oh, that's water word. I'm like, oh, what did you wash your hands? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like the fixation on the jeans. I think for now the way that I write is nothing like this, obviously. Well, hopefully, God.
Right.
But I do think like this was at a phase where I was also writing like more about my feelings, not in a journaling sense, but I would do a lot of like long sentence description, which if you could see the other two listeners, they're very similar. The line lengths are quite long. They're not really based on line breaks. It's based on thoughts. And then also I tried to read it where like the breaks are meant to be emphasis, less so tactful. Like they're just kind of like, I think of you curling your fingers. So each one is basically like a breath for delivery. And I did a couple spoken word events. I almost put that one in, but that one was embarrassing and also way too long. But it does a lot of repetition of like, well, I see this, but also I mean this, but I mean, and that now is not the type of stuff I like for emphasis.
Sure.
So I was trying to kind of write towards those more spoken word aspects, but not in a very good way.
Oh.
Trickle down past my waistband? Like, what the hell?
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice that does not make any sense.
No.
Even like Slither. That would have been better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But trickle is like liquid.
Yeah, it's like pee dribbling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe you were just like really obsessed with Ronald Reagan at that point, and you were thinking like economics.
Oh yeah,
that was it.
You know what's so funny? So I'm not going to say this like fully committed. Well, regardless, you can keep it in. This,
Okay.
You know how everybody thinks they have that one person they would go back in time and like, you know, Mr. RR. That'd be
Reagan?
me. That'd be mine. 100%.
Okay.
Right as he came out. Right as he came out. No stops. Like, I'm not waiting. I'm like, oh, dropped you. Sorry. Like, I'm totally committed. And I fully mean that. So no, when I thought trickle down, I was not thinking about Mr.
No, it was definitely Reagan. It was definitely.
I mean, the person who this was about probably was into Ronald Reagan. Let's be honest. That's probably why it's there. You know, it's like, ooh, this was probably some frat boy that didn't even deserve a time of day. Like, because who else would make love in a bathroom stall at the football games? You know what I mean?
Were you really into like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? Like,
No. I wish I knew the answer to this. I think part of it was like the ability to hold stuff like physically in a fabric, but then also pockets. So like the first line, which I did not read, was "I find you deep within the pockets of my regret." So now we can play with like the physical placement.
okay.
And then later there's also like crumpled up gum wrapper. Like, do you ever have something in your pocket that you just don't take out because you play with it?
Yes.
Well.
Yep.
So like that's also kind of a thing here. I do that in the beginning section. So I think it's the fact that they're so common. So I think at the time I was also reading The Triggering Town. I forget who wrote it. I was trying to do exercises and things. I had taken a poetry class as well. So I had some more tactics. And I think, oh, I can do something physical, like take this physical object that's very common and try to make it into something more like meaningful. And jeans also like clothes travel really far. For example, my pillow pet has been to like 7 different countries. Like obviously not clothes, but it's still like you wouldn't expect that. And so jeans are the same, you know, you can just put them on and they go places. So I think it's the fact that they're so mundane and yet they hold a lot because they hold you and then other people quite literally with hands. Or belty, snaky, trickly fingers.
I'm gonna need a minute to recover from that one.
That's so fair. Well, in that case, do you need me to read the second one?
Yes, please.
Ooh.
Yes.
This one is not as dramatic. If I remember correctly, I wrote this after I saw a man who had an umbrella with raindrops tattooed behind his ear. So I was trying to like write about that. Like, why is it there? For my memory. So Rain and Umbrella. This is from August of 2017. Underneath, not out, around, or between, is rain, 7 drops, huddled under a fleshy hood. A wiry mesh and handle uplift tight single tears, 7 in number, while buckets in mind, on wrinkly skin. Down, not south, up, or around, they wash, embedded alive, never to leave foreign eyes. Behind the ear, a reminder still, a quill of the past and pain meant to last. Only for a moment is emblazoned with blood, the rush filled with sentiment, memories of sediment accumulating, creating, recreating, black ink on skin, black ink within. Dark tears, 7, deadly, sins near to never forget.
Very different poem.
Mm-hmm.
Well said, Dave. Yes.
I mean, that's facts. Facts.
Okay.
Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, Pat.
Why don't you hit me with your best shot?
So,
fire away.
Dave.
No.
Okay,
Just
I'll try.
Straight up, no.
When you wrote down, not south, up, or around, I was like, oh, like feathers. And no, it's they wash or embed. So that's where I got distracted.
Yeah, that's so fair. So
like
I think
feathers? What?
Yeah, like Downy. You put down pillows and stuff. And so she's already eliminated south and up, you know, but
So I will say the first stanza has underneath, so I feel like down automatically is clarified by that structure. So I disagree kindly with you. But I think the reason I brought this one is because I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? I was trying, but I really was like just blown away by my use of parentheses in this particular poem.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's why I wanted to bring it. Really wanted to bring it.
And that's the distracting part because while you say down they wash, so it's like describing the movement of the tears. That parentheses breaks it up in such a way
100%.
where it made me second guess like, oh, is it like a downy jacket?
I
that
have
he's
absolutely
wearing?
no idea.
Yeah. But no, it's just the wash of the tears that aren't
Yeah.
really falling down. They're just tattooed that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the individual who sparked this image? Okay.
No, not a clue. I saw the tattoo and was like, it's behind your ear, so you can't see it. So I was like doing this whole developing a life for this person,
Mm-hmm.
this man. Also, too, I probably, you know how some people say like different symbols mean different like groups, like gangs and things.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think at the time I was like, this feels like such a specific image of like 7 raindrops underneath this umbrella behind your ear that I was like, this. Of course, I am totally judging this person from afar, but I saw
Right.
it and was like, that is such a specific thing.
Okay.
So I tried writing about it.
I need another clarification.
Absolutely, please.
You talked about seeing 7 raindrops underneath an umbrella behind
Yeah.
an ear.
Yeah.
The first image I pictured was you thought that it was ironic in which a person was walking with an umbrella
No,
and had 7, right? So no,
No.
the umbrella is part of the tattoo?
absolutely, yes.
Got it. Thank you. No,
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to
Okay.
work on your parsing of language, Aaron.
I'm really bad at this.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay. Like, not all of us have masters in linguistics.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. So the raindrops are under the umbrella? Like the umbrella
Absolutely.
is
Well, it is called rain and umbrella, and it says underneath is rain 7 drops.
So, like, there's these things called letters, and when you put them together, they become words, and those
Aaron,
words mean things.
I
Aaron.
will say, like, it is clear. The reason it doesn't feel that way is because of the use of parentheses. The parentheses
Fair.
really up. And that's why I was like, what was I doing?
You
Like,
never
genuinely,
mentioned
what was
an
the purpose
umbrella.
behind this? Yes, it's called rain and umbrella.
I'm gonna
Right.
hit him.
but that's only the title.
Underneath is rain.
And you said it's behind the ear, so it could just be
Huddled,
like
huddled
under the
a
ear.
fleshy hood. Which that
Yeah.
also is a disgusting 7 words.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I
That is
said it and I was
truly
like,
awful.
fleshy hood and wrinkly skin. Yeah.
Also,
Yep.
also a wiry mesh and handle uplift tight single tiers.
Okay, clearly I was just tuned you out for this whole reading. I don't know what
you
happened.
did.
I'm so sorry, man.
Whatever.
I'm
Aaron,
so sorry.
also, you can tell that the parentheses in the way that they curl are like little umbrellas in the poem,
Yeah, because that's totally what I meant.
right? Gosh, this guy doesn't get it.
Plebeian. Doing in Rome. Yeah, I just think the parentheses use here is so fascinating.
Yeah. It clearly messed me up beyond redemption.
Yeah, but I think that's fair. And it's like, what was the need for clarification? Like, genuinely, what was the purpose of this? I don't like. It needs to have reason, right? You know, there needs to be a point, and there isn't one. There's no point to this.
Yeah, speaking of which, while you the first 2 underneath and down give somewhat like not this. But the second the middle one, 7 in number, that's a great clarification. That adds detail. But
Yeah.
buckets in mind?
Yeah, I think it's like, so maybe because again, I was on that whole, if this is a symbol for a gang, maybe each one is a person.
Right.
I was going real deep I literally was like judging this person with this tattoo. I do not remember anything about him other than this tattoo, but I was like, so I was thinking maybe if you were in like a group of people and there is an expectation to,
Yeah.
our style. I feel like then the end with dark tears, 7 deadly sins near to never forget. So I was basically saying like each one of these is.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get the euphemism, but why buckets?
Because you'd think about them because you did that. But I would think about it because I wouldn't do that. Maybe someone who actually did this for a living, not saying this person did, but like we'd have a different perception.
When you think about someone, you think about buckets?
No.
What?
Okay.
What am I not
Let
getting?
me tell you. I'm saying each of the teardrops is a dead person.
Yes. Buckets. What's a
Buckets in the mind, like tiers in like single tiers. Like one tier is not one bucket, but you'd be filling them with tiers. So like you think about them a lot. So though it's one tier, you think about the volume. Like the volume of them is so big. Like buckets, like 7 in number, but buckets in the mind, meaning like it's only one tier, one person,
okay.
but they're a full person. Okay.
Okay.
I think you're having an off day.
Yeah.
think I am too.
To help you understand, Aaron, there are these things called nouns, and then there's verbs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
There's a lot of pronouns too. So many
tons of pronouns.
Yeah.
That really
All
drove me
good.
nuts.
All good.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna slap you, buddy.
I'll explain take 2 now.
Yes,
Explain
please.
take 2. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So I'm very much a typing poet, partially because a lot of the structure that I like using, especially with palindromes, is it's visual, but to a page. I do not like handwriting my pieces. I do not like handwriting my songs. I have to see it texted out. I like the visual of type.
Cool.
And so this also means that I don't like actively editing the same piece, because you might want to keep something, you might want to change. Now, songs are a little bit different for me these days because I'm confident in my decisions. But back in the day when I first started, I was not confident in my decisions. So I would basically copy the piece and then say take 2, take 3, take 4. And so I'd have all running iterations of the poem in the same document. So this was the second attempt at it. And I just called it takes for a while. And like 2, 3, and then I would also stagnate by pages. And so that now I switched midway through my career, where I would put the most recent at the top, because before I would have people edit. And when I did that, they were like, wait, but you used to do the latest one at the bottom. And I was like, but it was so much to scroll. So I did in the middle of like having beta readers, totally changed my practice. And they were like, what's going on? It was whiplash for them. Sorry, Lanny. Shout out. That was Lanny. She was like, hold on, that's not what you used to do. And I was like, yeah, I changed my mind. I'm sorry. Didn't give you a lowdown of the new stuff, but
shout out to Maddie.
So yeah, I would basically love Lanny. Party Fly Photography, Michigan. So that is not a paid ad, but I would happily do it anyway.
We will support Lanny in all of her
100%.
endeavors.
Yeah.
Forever and always. Yeah. So yeah, I basically would stagnate every page, or I would just make a new take. So then I could have the old ones and go back to it if I wasn't confident in my choices. Now I'm much more confident, but this is also like these last 2 and the last one, they're all free verse, right? And so I think free verse can cause questions because you might cut out an image or a thing, whereas when you have more form, you have to fit it inside of that box. Yeah. So I think there's that restriction makes you a little bit more cognizant of some choices to an extent. Like you're not questioning, should I do this? Should I not do this? It's more, can I do this? Can I not do this? There's a different modal situation there if we're going to get linguistic.
You got to fit it under the right umbrella.
Deep sigh. So you get now you understand an umbrella.
I got it
now. You get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. So that's helpful, because when I first saw it, I think what Aaron has is spreading, because I thought that the take was like you're taking 2 of the raindrops off the guy's neck.
I kept it. Actually, I actively thought of it. Yeah, take 2. Like, I just want 2 of these for myself.
Just grab them.
Like, Horcrux for me. So, I wanted to keep it because I kind of wanted to talk about it, because it was something like back in the day, that's what I did. Again, less so now because I'm writing so many more form-based things. And by form-based, again, it's not sonnets, it's not pantoums or hustles, but it like palindromes, you need to actively be thinking about as you write the first part. So I really change that all the time. I very rarely look at previous iterations. Whereas at this point, I was so not stressed. I was just nervous to make a change or like do something after feedback and then be like, what did I do before? Right. So I was never actively editing the same version. I would always copy paste. It'd be pages sometimes for this stuff.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. I probably need to clean out my Google Drive, to be honest.
As long as they don't try and sell you more
Oh, they are.
data. Oh, okay.
I'm
Then-
89% full. I'm like, that sucks,
you
man.
might need to clear out some.
Yeah.
As long as you make sure you save the most embarrassing for this show. Well,
Yeah,
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I did. I logged into my my original Facebook signed up email account, like that one
wow.
to get these, because my current email that I use for all writing stuff only goes back to 2020. So I was like, I have to dig, because I knew I had these shared folders and it was in the wrong account, and I had to log in and it had to be like, someone from Brussels tried to get into your email account. And I was like, baby, that's me. That's quite literally, like, I have never logged into that email account on my computer to give you it's on my phone, fine. But it's not easy to find stuff. I can't do that on my Google Drive. On my phone, it's just on my mail. So yeah, it was a labor of love to get these to you.
Well, and we love you for it, Maddie.
Yeah.
It was worth it. Oh man. Oh yeah, should we do the
I'm
weird...
trying to be like
What
the
is
cool
the-
kids.
We're all doing different hearts. We could do this one. That's the new one.
Yeah, I like
This
that
is what
one.
everybody
Right?
loves.
That one's so much
I
better.
thought
wait.
when I
Am I
first saw
doing it
this,
wrong?
so it's with the thumb and the index finger, listeners. It's very, very big. It's like very, like I teach a lot of Korean students, and a lot of them
Right.
will do this,
Okay.
and I love it. But it also feels like they're about to snap, and that's why initially when I saw it, I was like, wait. I was like, why are we stopping midway through? I don't get it. Now I understand. It's a heart.
Okay.
It's a heart.
I don't know if I knew that one as much.
Yeah, very popular right now
Oh, no.
on the internet.
Damn.
I mean, we also know Aaron lives under an umbrella.
I live under a rock.
That's what happens when you grow up in Ohio.
Same. Whoa. Haterade. Honey.
Yep, correct.
Lovely. Well, we need to get.
Oh yeah.
We do, because I also
need
have
to
to
get
do a
my-
current one, right? Don't I?
Yes,
I
you
forgot. So I'll do this one. I remember sending it to one of my friends, and I was in the park, and I thought I was the coolest thing. And so there's that. So this was December 2017. Hold on, I had to burp a little. At my wedding. I hold hands with stardust and watch the atoms buzz beneath my palms. I spin around, tilt 23.5 degrees, arms halo rings, catching dust, seeing seasons rush in and out of focus. I have welded myself to a mass of flying protons, thick with lava and heat at their core, a planet cannoned into mine. How many moons do you think we will make? How many twirling asteroids will belt around us? How many stars will our celestial canvas confess? How did trajectory project us in our directions? Feet of carbon, limbs of sinewy string tied loose in a knot. How can we not notice the space between our breaths, the legato of firing, synapses, rotations, revolutions? When do we notice the staccato of our breaths? For now, we swirl starry nights in tar pitch music. Adrift without gravity, I will always pull you to me, hold you close, but not to burn my stratosphere, a dewy shield. An Amazon died thriving at my wedding. I relax into soft, swift, slow turns and comfort my liquid blood that pumps and burns. A kiss is water for this globe pruned bare. I await these collisions, tenacious devotion. Our ray, how many moons are we willed to create?
This makes perfect sense to me. I appreciate you bringing this on.
I want to clarify here, Aaron, because we were teaching you about nouns and verbs. There's another part of language called punctuation. It helps to clarify stuff.
Oh, wow. What is this?
I took the conceit of we are planets passing in the night, and it's like, oh, we're going to collide and we're going to make moons and doing
We're
so.
going to make moons, baby.
First, making love in the bathroom stall.
Yeah. This is cosmic in its confusion, Maddie. I don't know.
But I'm ching!
It's like, okay, what is going on?
I can tell you it's about love.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be.
Okay. And liquid blood. Not
Yeah, that was, I
Not
think
dried
as I read it, that was like the most embarrassing. Like, there's a lot in here that's embarrassing, but that particular bit, I was like, I mean, plasma is another thing they say. So, like, maybe if I said plasma blood, but I mean, like, again, too smart for my own good. I did not think that. I'm just telling you right now. I'm trying to save my previous ass.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like the line only because it's hilarious, but sinewy string tied loose in a knot. How can we not?
There's
Snaps.
well, and I think so that actually that'll lead us into the current one that I wrote,
Oh,
which is very
perfect.
sad.
Oh.
Well, not right. Hold on, we're still talking about this one really. Pause because of the sound, and so I really love, and I think Taylor Bias, who I adore, the best person. Like I think Taylor has done multiple classes. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic lockdown, well, our quote quote lockdown, and she did a whole pantoum thing, and pantoums really rely, or they can rely on punctuation, and so I really now with palindromes, again, I've done 8 in the last 48 hours. Not to say it's going to stay that way, but I'm zooming. So I think that punctuation is really important, but then also the homophone, homograph, like all the multi sound factors that come with English, like the not, how can we not? So I literally in one of the poems I did the other day had I cannot do this, and then something can not. Like it's very intentional playing with that language. So this is like that line was interesting to me as I read it because I hadn't read it out loud in a long time, actually maybe ever. And hearing the sounds and knowing that I do things like that now in the current forms that I make was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, so there was an inkling of what I enjoy, but this was not. It also can we like why is firing in its own line? Why is pumps in its own line?
Yeah.
Also, why is breath such a hard word? Like you heard me stumble over that. I was like, how do I make sure that's not like breath? I tried to do like bread because I knew I had just said breaths.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, I have to make sure it's not breath. Bread.
Yeah.
I don't say that word out loud enough. I don't need to.
Right?
Breath, back to the earlier breaths. Our breath.
Breaths of legato.
Yeah. Of firing.
Firing synapses.
But it's of.
I know firing synapses.
So again, you can like modify words with other words around them, Aaron.
This is why my poetry was so bad in high school. I'm just getting these lessons now.
Okay, we're happy to do this for you, but you can send money through PayPal. I can do that for you. I will say that this one has more like, I don't want to say plausible, but I think it connects. Look, so the first one was very like auto fiction-y style description. Yeah. Second one was me trying to be artsy. Like you can tell I was trying to shit that shit out. And then this one though, I was also trying to be poetic in this. And I think that's also why there's no punctuation.
No.
Yes.
Except for question marks. That's it.
Yes, that's true. But what I love about this one, and again, I'm going to go back to kind of the not, and the rotations, revolutions, the wordplay that you are weaving into this.
I'm trying.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's really fun in pieces. Like there's so many cool little images and lines you can pick out. But when it runs all together, woof.
Do I know who you sound like? People who listen to my songs these days, and they're like, you made too many illusions. And I'm like, no, I didn't.
You didn't catch all of them then.
No, I'm like, that's not, there's literally not enough. What are you talking about? There's a bridge. I don't know if I talked about this. I don't know if it was written. It probably was. There's a bridge that I wrote, God, over a year and a half ago, probably. And it was my reaction about Taylor Swift. I got told I sounded like Taylor Swift a lot, and that really bothered me. I won't go into it. So the bridge starts with nothing I do makes a mark. Luke or John, it's hard. There are 3 different turns that occur in that.
Yeah.
And that is the stuff that I am proud of. Now, nothing I do makes a mark. Because there's also like, Nothing I Do Matters Anyway was the
Yep.
song because I was
Yep.
getting really frustrated. So
Mark,
Nothing
Luke,
I Do
John.
makes a mark.
Yep.
Mark, Luke, John, book of,
Yep.
and then shit, John and shit,
Yep. Because the toilet.
toilet. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
That type of
I-
stuff gets me
yeah.
going.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the type of stuff that I lived for when Reliant K was doing those kind of turns.
Well, and that's what got me lost in this poem, especially right at the end.
Yeah.
So, Tenacious Devotion, my mind goes to Tenacious D.
That's so fair. And
Because
that,
duh.
as you say that, yeah.
But then the
Yeah.
one that lost me was the Aurea. Because
Yeah.
I know Rhea, a Greek goddess, and
I
Rhea,
said that
a
and I was
bird.
like, no, I didn't know about the bird, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, did I misspell something? Like I was reading forward and I was like, oh no, I'm coming up on a word that I'm not really sure. I was like, ugh. Yeah, that's why I said Ray. That was obvious. That was
No,
yeah.
you're
It was
good.
supposed to be. It was supposed to be whatever that word, that God situation represents.
Right, and she's a goddess of there's a moon of Saturn named after her,
So
which I
that's
had to
back-
look up.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
You
so
did-
confused because I'm like, why is there a large bird making moons?
Fair.
And
Had
it was
a
because
really,
I didn't
really
know
big
stuff.
lunch. It also had a really big lunch. Yes.
Sorry.
Solid point, Aaron.
No, I was-
yeah,
I
I
was
hadn't
gonna
thought
go
of
on-
that before.
I was gonna go on a Dave. I'm so glad you're at this one because if it was just me and Maddie again, this would be such a disaster today.
It'd be a linguistic discussion of like, so a noun is
Yes.
a person, place, or thing.
Oh,
But an ing can also be a noun. Because I literally taught this today. I had somebody ask me, and it was honestly, it was tough. I was like, because we were talking about dramas, like, and she said, I like to watch dramas, or I like watching dramas. And I was discussing how that is the same information, just communicated in two different ways, like to watch and watching. But I was like, it's not always like that though. And I don't know how else to tell you other than give you a ton of links. We do not have enough time in 20 minutes to go into it. And I was like, I don't even know if I can explain it well enough. I'm like, so quite literally, yeah, that was my day, but it was fun.
Oh, well, Maddie, how many moons have we made?
We've made a lot.
We've
I mean,
made
it
a
depends
lot.
on what is the definition of moon? What is a moon? What is a noun?
I mean, we've been circling topics in the orbit of,
You had to
of
mute
your
yourself for that.
poetry.
I had to mute myself, and oof is all I've got. The only thing I can say is oof.
So good.
Well, we need to sinewy string tie this up.
I know. I'm happy to do it. I'm going to
Yeah.
copy in the piece that I wrote today so you can see it because
Awesome.
I think it's very important that you see the visual.
Okay. Oh wow.
So palindromes, if the listeners are not familiar with, at least in the form that I understand it to be, it hinges. It's basically like there's a line in the middle and then the lines above and below repeat. So it starts with the same line that it ends with. And it's not, some people write palindromes. I know there's a person on Twitter, I guess now, probably Bluesky, but he does like word, like letter
Yeah,
for
he'll
letter,
flip the word,
letter.
yeah.
Yeah. And so that is not me. No, I discovered this style from, it was years ago now, but I still find it so cool. Drawn Onward by Caroline Bird. I read it for the first time and I lost my mind. I was like, holy crap, this is so cool. And I started writing them. So then, yeah, I during the poetry workshops I conducted this week, we did blackout poetry with Charles Dickens' Great Expectations to kind of get our minds going. We did emulation poems, first Lucille Clifton's My Ode to My Yellow Coat, or Poem to My Yellow Coat. And then we did Keva Akbar's Orchids Are Sprouting from the Floorboards as our two emulation pieces. And then the three form poems that we looked at, mind you, 2 different sessions, so it wasn't all at once, were palindromes. So this style, we did abecedarians or abecedarians and acrostics. So it was basically like, do something to get your brain going, emulate, pick something of this, and then we're going to try to do a form. So it gave people different ways to kind of write into pieces, which is the whole point of it. And so I had not written one of these in a long time, and I did my first one, and then I went home and was like, agaki doing them. So I wrote this today while babysitting on a park bench. Well, sorry, child was in a class. I was on a park bench. I was
Got
not
it.
babysitting on the park bench or babysitting
Yes.
the park bench.
Yes.
Anyway, so I said, Todd Dillard, can you give me a topic? And so he said, childhood rhymes that are relevant into adulthood in unexpected ways. I remember the moment I learned that ring around the rosy was describing loss. You were older, just a little. I thought we all fall down was about our bodies getting to touch the grass together and see what the sky did, holding hands like they were the flowers in a song. Turns out it was a moment where people died in numbers my head could not understand, so I put it down and didn't try to pick it back up again. This is where my memory stands still. You told me not to worry. You called my mom. You put the phone in my ear and cried. And I cried. Sorry. I have this memory of you because I cannot disconnect you from how I understand care. I cannot forget when she called me, told me. I cannot move on. Don't think I can forget you. Was a flower in my hand? I love you. Don't think I can forget. You are a flower I cannot forget. When she called me, told me, I could not move on from how. I understand care because I cannot disconnect you in my ear. I cried. I have. This memory of you stands still. You told me not to worry. You called my mom. You put the phone down and didn't try to pick it up again. This is where my memory died, in numbers. My head could not understand, so I put it in a song. Turns out it was a moment where people did hold hands like they were the flowers, to touch the grass together and see what the sky was about. Our bodies getting older, just a little. I thought we all fall down, Rosie. I was describing loss. You were the moment I learned that ring around the I remember.
What? That is so cool and
So much fun.
beautiful
Yeah.
and amazing.
Thanks.
I love that. It feels again like you're playing with a puzzle.
Yeah, it's so fun. Like I love for a while when I was living in Ireland, I exclusively wrote acrostics and abecedarians because again it was a form and it was like you knew where it went. You didn't know where it actually went, but you had a structure. And so I see these as like very basic skeletons. And you get to really decide what you want to put, but there's still a direction. Like I have to decide when I want to fold it, and you have to be like actively as you're writing the first half, you're writing the second half. You have to pick words that like connect together. You have to decide where the lines cut. You have to decide what final moment you want to end on, and they are so much fun to write.
This has been My Bad Poetry.
Now go write some of your own bad poetry, guys.
Make sure it doesn't have any punctuation other than question marks, though. That's
And
important.
nouns and verbs. What are they?
What are those things?
What are they? I don't know.
You guys are mean. Rhyme free doesn't matter. It's my